Hello, my name is Thomas Wittig, and our topic today will be about digital marketing strategies for your recruitment activities. So, why should you invest in digital marketing? Isn't it just enough to post a job offering and then wait for candidates to come in? Well, in this webinar and series, I would like to walk you through a couple of key considerations. As the market is changing, the market is becoming more competitive, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to attract the right talents at the right time and place in organizations. So I think it's worthwhile taking a look at what you can do with digital marketing strategies and tactics. Our topics today, first of all, I'd like to kick it off with a few key considerations about digital marketing strategies and tactics, and the trends are most important in that regard. So first, we talk about also the expectations of the candidates. So what do they expect? What are their preferences? And how is that changing right now? It's actually changing very rapidly, as we will see. Then I would like to walk you through the basic building blocks if you're not familiar with them. So I would call out what you should have in place by now and how to prioritize some of your activities and projects. And then I'd like to give you a short to-do list. So what are the things that you can do, what you can focus on right now? And I will give an outlook on what the next steps are. So how you can get up to speed on, let's say, the more up-to-date topics in digital marketing for this particular area. So first things first, let's talk about some of the trends. Where's the market heading? What is happening right now? And first of all, we need to take a look at some of the macro trends, which are really impacting the ability to recruit and attract new employees. Now, you have heard probably about the war of talent. So this war of talent is far from over. It's actually heating just up, as I believe, in most of the markets. And of course, it's going to a new level with new technologies, different expectations, etc. So we'll talk about that briefly now. So first of all, the job portals, if you take a look at the job portals, so these are internet sites where you can search for jobs and you post your jobs as an employer. They are taking a more and more dominant position. On one hand, it's good because that simplifies a lot of the recruitment, but it comes also with some challenges for you as an employer, especially if you want to control and define your candidate experience and recruiting process, and if you become more and more independent of that. The search platforms such as Google, Bing, and others are moving into this market. As we speak right now, Google is launching a new offering called Google for Jobs, and they're experimenting, testing that in different markets, especially in the European markets right now. Very important topic. So later in the series, we'll talk about what it means for you, how you can leverage that new capability. Then we need to talk about the demographic change. Also, first of all, on an overall society level, there's a big change because the demographic composition of the population is changing over time, and the once very strong age cohorts which were born in the let's say 50s, 60s, 70s, etc., they are coming of age, and some companies internally will find that the whole generation of people who has built an organization is also moving towards retirement, and then retirement is coming for a large part of the organization. So that puts even more strain on the hiring and recruiting capabilities. And there are also upcoming changes in technology. Now we've seen a great change, and I will call some of the facts in a moment here, but what we are now seeing in terms of automation, personalization, and artificial intelligence is going to be a whole new level, and it will hit also the recruiting processes and the recruiting arenas around the globe. Now, the last but not least, and I think this is one of the most important topics when we talk about the candidates, because at the end of the day, it's all about people. So we need to talk about what's on their mind. How do they think about work? life. How do they want to communicate and engage or not engage at certain points of time? So when we think about newer generations like millennials or the generation before that, the age cohort before that, we need to understand where do they hang out, what are they looking for, and how can we start a dialogue and positioning the company in a way that it's more attractive for people to join the organization. Now, overall, there's a shortage of skilled labor in one geography, and in another geography you have a lot more talent that is looking for jobs. That's the situation, for example, in a lot of European countries. Specifically in the Central European arena, we find that there's a severe shortage of labor in countries like Germany, Switzerland, Austria. So people are looking for talent, are looking for employees which they want to join in an organization, very much prepared to invest in new development opportunities. And on the other hand, we have people having more choice. So they are looking carefully which opportunity is best for me, what is good for my life, work, career, and well-being as a person, as a human being. So what feels right for me? And that's something that we have to keep in mind when we think about overall recruiting as a key capability in organizations in general. I'm not talking only about business, but also public sector, NGOs, large organizations, small business, the mid-market, the Mittelstand, for example, in Germany, small and medium enterprises, and so on. So recruiting is becoming a key capability in the business, not only about product development, financing, selling, etc., financial management, people management. Recruiting people is becoming a key enabler of growth and, of course, a key competitive advantage. If you can attract, hire people faster and better people faster in your organization, you can take on more projects, take on more clients, develop better products, and your overall proposition, your competitive position as a company is going to strengthen. Now, if you fail on these areas, recruiting is becoming a huge risk factor. And I'm not only talking about risk on a business level, on a day-to-day basis, but it also impacts, for example, your credit rating. When you're talking to, for example, banks about securing a loan, a funding, or an intermediate investment, or when you talk to insurances, everybody will look at you and say, what are the key processes that you have in place to attract, and hire talent and onboard talent in your organization and retain talent. It's not only about recruiting, of course. People have to feel well and contribute and stay in your organization for the long run. Otherwise, this is going to be a huge risk factor moving forward. Now, let's take a look at some of the trends, and I want to share some of the impressions and, let's say, guiding figures, guiding data points that I have picked up from research over the past month and years on this topic. So let's talk about expectations and also practices and the preferences of the candidates. Now, it's not a surprise that the market has moved mobile. Just look around you. A lot of people are looking at their mobile phones probably right now, wherever you are, maybe even including yourself. And so people have moved towards mobile devices, smartphones, handheld devices, tablets. That's the new form of engagement through these new devices. And mobile search has become very dominant. It's going to be more important moving forward. So on the other hand, a lot of companies are not prepared for that. And the candidates feel that. And if a mobile experience is not really excellent and smooth and easy and fast, then you are seeing a high dropout rate. So what we see in a lot of processes is that, especially on mobile, there is a high dropout rate. So you have to act, you have to get your website in order and upgrade it in order to cater to that expectation. Now, on the other hand, what I see a lot is that people see, okay, I'm investing a lot more in portals, etc. That's all good. But I also want to have some sense of control because I want to engage with the candidates. I want to keep them up to date. But if I'm just posting a job in, let's say, an online magazine or portal, whatever, I don't really know who the customers are. So how can I build a talent pool that I can reach out to and tap into when I need to fill a position or a whole range of positions to grow the company? Now, a lot of the top companies have already moved towards building their own talent pool within the limitations of the data privacy, data security regulations. I'm calling here out GDPR, for example, which is very important for companies and organizations in Europe, of course. But a large portion of the company has already started building a talent pool. And then what you find is that only roughly 20% really have a strategy and tactics defined. So what are you going to do with the talent pool? That's a key consideration. Of course, you want to have some talents. You don't want to, let's say, annoy them with frequent, not interesting, irrelevant communication. And how do you keep them engaged, etc., is a key consideration. Social media, same picture. A lot of companies have engaged on that. I see as actually some of the presences which are not really preferable or favorable. So a lot of people have started using their Facebook accounts, sometimes even private Facebook accounts, and reaching out to potential candidates. Now, but only less than a third, I would say, has a clear strategy on what to do on social media and to make this instrument an important part of your overall recruiting mix, your marketing mix. So we have to think about how to make a good impression and impact on social media as well, and to feed your funnel and your pipeline of candidates that you are looking for. Now, let's talk about some of the basic key building blocks that you should have in place by now. Again, today is just only an overview, and I'm going to dive deep into each one of these areas with key strategies and tactics which help you find success in each of these areas. But first things first. We first need to talk about the funnel. Now, funnel is a concept that usually comes from marketing or sales, where you talk about the funnel of customers. You talk to the addressable market, and then you bring customers into your funnel. Finally, you have leads, and then people are purchasing services from you, or goods or products, whatever, or subscriptions. Now, the same idea applies to the recruiting processes. So you have an addressable market of potential candidates, and then you want to narrow that down to bring in the candidates in as employees. But it's not a straight journey. Usually it starts with, first of all, making people aware that you are a company, you are here in this town, in this region, in this industry segment, and you have open positions. Then people have to become interested and articulate a desire to actually get in contact and take action. Now, only these 4 steps, very basic. A lot of companies really don't cater their candidate experience and their content strategy to these 4 basic steps. But then once people apply, the internal processes kick in. So meaning that you have to screen, interview people, and also hire and onboard. And between this becoming aware and becoming an employee, there can be a long time period. And sometimes it takes 2 or 3 runs for an employee to apply, or for you to reach out and identify an employee. Again, the rule of 7 here is really important. In marketing, we say that a message has to be seen at least 7 times, probably more by now, in order for people to even become aware and develop an interest in your brand, in your desire. Now, here we see a full spectrum of things that we need to consider in order to develop our employer value proposition or benefit proposition, a unique benefit proposition. But most companies are still playing in a very narrow band here, posting a job position and waiting for people to apply. Another interesting fact that I found was that only on average, somewhere around below 100, probably 70, 80 visitors per job posting. That's not enough to get candidates into your interviewing process. So we need to ask, how can we enlarge the funnel on the top end to get more candidates into the hiring pipeline in a good way? And last but not least, it's also about feedback loops. So your employees, your happy employees, are the best ambassadors, or even your customers, right? If they recommend your organization, your company, your business as a great place to work, where great people work, then that's the best advertisement that you can do. So we also will talk a little bit more about employee or customer referral programs and how to leverage these network effects in these different settings and networks and platforms. So what you need is actually not this narrow view, but widen your view on the whole spectrum and how to leverage the network effects. And that's where basically our marketing engine for recruitment is coming into play. So the foundation always should be your web presence, your website. And it needs to be optimized not only for mobile and a good look and feel, but really for discoverability, which means people need to find you in the search engines. And that is, of course, a basic principle, even if you're only using job sites, for example. Don't get me wrong, the job sites are great. You need them, you need to be present there. But also what you need is to generate traffic. What we find is actually that a lot of employees or future employees are looking for jobs in the portals. But then they go back into the internet, search for your websites, your presences on social media to get a more complete picture. So again, the candidate journey is not a linear step-by-step as we would sometimes like it to see. It's more a mix and sometimes a complicated journey that it's very difficult to understand. But we need to be prepared for that and meet people actually where they are looking for us on the different platforms. Then once people come to our websites, we can start building an audience, which means we can capture the audience, for example, for retargeting, for reposting job positions. And the way how we can do that is, of course, through the organic search, but also we can help generate traffic through search engine paid advertising. We can do the same on social networks. We can leverage videos. Video is, I think, a centerpiece. That's probably why it's here right in the middle of this chart. The world is also not only going mobile, but video is an important component. Now, you may not be a video producing company, but throughout the series, I want to show some fairly easy tactics, and you can be as professional as if you want, but really you have to get started with some basic videos, and not only posting the videos, but you have to, let's say, make it work for your process. So I'll show you some of the tricks how to do that. Then retargeting is an important effort. Now, retargeting means basically people have come to your digital properties like your website or your pages, etc. And then once they consent to being having a cookie on their devices, you can also market the job postings back to them. So that's an important factor. And last but not least, email. Now you hear a lot of things about chat and mobile and whatnot, but email is still an important central component because people really receive normally invitations. They respond to invitations via email. So it's an important part to understand how we can leverage email both from a programmatic point of view, on an automation point of view, but also in our interactions with the candidates. So these are the building blocks, and they need to be embedded in a management system. What I mean by that is a set of core processes and business review processes to constantly review and optimize. And you need the insights, you need the statistics, the numbers to make decisions and to allocate resources. Only if you can allocate resources to these instruments, to these process areas that work for you, then you can win the recruiting game. Now, what can you do? And how can you get started right now? Now, in this series, we only cover things on a high level. Again, there will be more detailed content about each of these areas. But first of all, discoverability. That should be an ongoing priority. Now, this, as you can see, the arrow is already very long, so it extends far into the future. It's a journey. It's not something that is a one-time effort. It goes at least over a year or two, and then you have to come back again and optimize your website, update your website. It's constantly changing. You always have to be on the lookout for what are the ranking factors that get you higher in the search results. How do people find you? Also, one thing that you can do right now is to claim your spot on the and your presence on important platforms, local searches, job platforms, etc. And I can show you exactly how to do it and what to pay attention to. Then optimize your local discoverability. So when people look for job so-and-so in your city, in your region, then you show up in the search results as an employer. That's very important. Second step is about enhancing the experience and the engagement. And here it's all about building a funnel, building a candidate pool, and to generate traffic into this funnel so that you can accelerate the recruiting processes. And there, of course, targeting is super important because you want to target only those people who are really a good fit for your organization and who are available. Why do you want to advertise to people who are not available, who are not a great fit, or not even willing to search, so they don't have a search intent? So that's something we have to figure out. And the third area, which is probably very relevant for a lot of companies who are very advanced right now, is in the area of acceleration and improving the experience and the conversion much further. Here I want to call out three things that we need to pay attention to. One is personalization of the experience. So when a candidate is coming to your organization, they have different expectations, needs, and also they have different ideas what they are looking for. So the experience for, let's say, a college or a university graduate might be completely different than a senior manager or an executive. And all of them are coming to your website. So how can you cater to these different experience and expectations? Secondly, artificial intelligence assisted processes. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to interview with a robot. I don't want to work for or with a robot, right? We all work with people. But the question is, how can a new technology such as artificial intelligence help you to augment and extend your processes? For example, in areas as screening or matching positions to candidates or finding similar people that you have in the organization. Find more of those people when you're growing fast and you have to hire not only one or two, but tens, 20s, hundreds, or maybe several thousand people at the same time. That's when scale is really important, and here new technologies can help us tremendously. Number three, automation. Now, automation again is not that you basically treated by robots, but this is about spending more quality time in personal interactions with the candidates. So, for example, today I see a lot of companies spending a lot of time on, for example, screening the incoming applications. Now, the question is, how can a new technology also help us? Then candidates are complaining, I never hear about the company. I don't even know if they have received my application. Again, how can we automate that process in a way so that we know, oh yeah, they have received it, they open it, I'm into the consideration set, I have an interview. So then I can make up my mind if I still want to continue on this recruiting process and so on. The worst thing, as in any change in organization and personal change, is if nothing happens, then people really fill in the blanks, fill in the gaps, and worst case, they go and hire, sign up for some other job in another company. So this is such an important topic that I will spend probably a lot more time in the next coming webinars and briefing series. Excuse me. Now, some practical ideas and action plans you can find in a couple of things. So first of all, there's this video series and the podcast, which is free. So I will share some of the tactics which are coming up as we speak. Then I've put together a complete briefing package, which is a course which is launching as we speak right now. It's a new course with all the latest and relevant strategies and tactics, and it's designed to help people get up to speed and drive concrete action plans, so implementing the changes right away. That's a great tool for people who are not familiar with the topic and who want to get started, or take a different look at their website, their processes, social media and advertising, and get new ideas on how to move forward. So I'll show basic concepts, key strategies and tactics, and some of the step-by-step implementation considerations here. Now, if you're just at the beginning and you just want to be up to speed and speak the lingo of digital marketing in recruiting, I think this 60-minute course will be great for you. So take a look at our website and the online course website. It's a great way to learn also at your own pace. It's filled with videos, short videos, briefings, quizzes, and also some quick wins that you can implement right now. So it's not only about understanding the topic, but you can try something. Now, these are becoming available and there will be more down the road. Now, if you're interested about upcoming content in this series, please subscribe to our channel, and then you will receive notifications. You can do the same on our website. And if you like the content, please give it a like, comment, and share it with your colleagues that you're working with. So if you're in HR, you may want to share it with your management team or your partners in the delivery organizations. Now, if you are a line manager, go engage your HR people and say, hey, what are we doing? Have we tried some of these tactics? And you can even engage in a joint learning experience in some of the briefing courses that I have put together. Now, I'm looking forward to hearing from you which one of these areas you find most interesting and which one you are implementing right now or you have implemented, and what your insights and feedback is. So please leave a comment. You can find us on the social media and pretty much the main platforms. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I think this is a great new topic to have a dialogue about. And as always, I wish you good luck.